Alright, let's talk about The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 3. This is going to be a spoiler filled review, so if you guys are not caught up with The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 3, please stop watching as we're going to dive into spoilers and talk about it. So, starting now. Um, this is the episode that follows the big cliffhanger. Well, it wasn't really a cliffhanger, I mean, it kind of just happened. In the last episode of Joel's death, which for me, for someone who's never played the game, was very shocking and hit me pretty hard. My girlfriend who's watching the show with me she's watched all the gameplay walkthroughs, so she knows exactly what's going to happen, but thankfully she did not spoil episode 2 of The Last of Us Season 2 for me. And that, it just shocked me. I couldn't believe it was the second episode. I mean, let alone that, but also the fact that they gave us a huge battle up front in the second episode. I was really shocked. It felt like a season finale. Made me worried, how are they going to top that? But going into this episode, it definitely felt like this was like the recovery episode. This was the let's take a breath and breathe and take a moment, for Joel. And, Ellie's recovering from her trauma, and the town is also recovering from the damage and their trauma and their losses. She's finally, I think 3 months later, gets out of the hospital, and she's kind of going through all of her old stuff and Joel's old stuff, and finds his gun and some of his clothes and his watch and stuff. Isabella Merced's character, Dina, tells her that, she's been withholding some information for her as she's been, recovering, and tells her that she does know some information about the people who killed Joel and knows their names and where they're from. Meanwhile, there's this, random new characters that we get to see who are hiking through the forest, stragglers, survivors of this tribe or something, and they end up hiding because somebody's coming after them and we don't know what it is. And then the council is debating on whether or not they should avenge Joel or get justice, and we get a lot of no's. We do get a surprising yes from Seth, who was being homophobic to Ellie earlier in the other episode, who surprisingly is on our side for this one. The votes end up being a total of no's, and the court adjourns or whatever, but, not before Ellie gave a pretty inspiring speech, but it still didn't get them what they needed. And then we get to see Ellie packing up guns and supplies and stuff, and Isabella Merced catches her and ends up helping her and giving her a map and helping her plan better. And they get some horses from Seth, who, we didn't expect, but even Ellie's still kind of standoffish to him, but ends up kind of shaking his hand. He's the only one who's really willing to help them right now. On their way out, Ellie and Isabella Merced, Ellie and Dina, visit Joel's grave, and she leaves some coffee beans for him on his grave in a very beautiful cinematic location. They keep traveling through, going to Seattle. I forget exactly where. They're trying to go to find Abby, but they get a little close while they're sleeping in a tent together. They talk about the kiss from last time. She says she's still kind of with Jesse, but you can tell there's still some flirtation there. The next day they come across some dead bodies, though, which end up being the survivors that we saw earlier, who were hiding out, and I think they're killed by the fireflies. Who knows? People who play the game, that's who knows. But they move on from that and continue on their search as they start to enter the town, and we get to see Danny Ramirez again, who's kind of coordinating his fireflies, I guess, or wolf. I don't know what they are exactly. The wolf pack marching through with all their guns and Hummers or whatever with guns on them. Shit's gonna go down. So I'm kind of excited to see what it's gonna happen. I'm still really tempted to like watch like video game playthroughs, but I don't know. The show is pretty amazing so far, and I'm enjoying it. So we'll see. New episode this Sunday. Would love to hear what you guys thought of episode 3 of The Last of Us season 2. Let me know down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for more. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day.